That way, oh, there's another one. That way, the wind sort of takes a scent down the island here.
What's up, guys? This is Tony here with Salt Strong, and in this video I'm going to be showing you some cut bait tactics that I applied on a recent trip filming an insider report for our insider members, where I show exactly where I go and why and how to find that 90-10 zone, which definitely applied on this trip when using cut bait as well. So I want to go ahead and show you some footage and walk you through some of the tactics that I used when using cut bait to catch redfish. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Alright, so I got to this island over here, small island. When I got to the point, I found a small pod of redfish. They were probably upper slot to little over slot reds, but they weren't cooperating with artificial, so I got a piece of cut mullet, got some frozen mullet, cut the tail piece off, free lining it on a 5/0 circle hook out there where I saw those fish. I basically came down upwind from that point, and now I'm facing into that point, and that way cast my cut bait out there, sitting on the bottom, and the wind is helping, you know, drive that scent down this side of the island where I saw that pot of reds at. So I'm gonna let that soak for a little bit and see if we can get one to pick it up. Oh, there we go. There we go. Fish on. Nice. Prime example of why, if you're using cut bait, you want to make sure you're using it in a spot where the fish are. Saw those reds on that point. They didn't want an artificial. Backed up, put a cut bait on, and got one to hit. Nice red. So red on a cut mullet. There we go. Nice red. There we go. Nice red on the cut mullet. Circle hook did his job. Right in the lip. Solid little fish. So again, the key thing here using the cut bait today is that I found fish. I was throwing artificials, they just weren't having it, and I just ended up backing up away from the spot where I saw the fish, anchored up. I'm pretty much upwind from where that spot was. That way, oh, there's another one. That way, the wind sort of takes a scent down the island here, or this highway I like to call it. And those fish will follow the scent. There we go. Another red on the cut bait. Because if you soak cut bait in an area where there's no fish, you're not going to catch fish, or you're going to end up dealing with a bunch of catfish and stingrays and other junk. So, always nice to have some frozen mullet as a backup plan when the fish don't want to play with artificial. A little nicer than the last one. No spots on this guy, huh? Naked red. Alright, just to show how I'm rigging up this mullet here. Really big frozen mullet. That's all they had at the bait shop, but gets the job done. We're going to cut the tail piece off. And then we're going to cut these fins off. So shears are really nice to have. These are made by Bubba. They work really well to easily cut up some bait. We're going to cut about 2 to 3 inch piece here, just like so. So we got a nice solid piece of mullet there. I am using my standard inshore setup here. This is 10-pound braid, 20-pound leader. Then I'm using a 5/0 circle hook, so free lined, just because it is pretty shallow here, you know, talking maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet. So don't really need much weight, if any, to hold it down. The weight of the mullet itself will keep it on the bottom. And we're just casting to this point up here where we've had a few redfish cruising up and down. Just casting it right up there along the highway and waiting for a red to pick it up. So I'm using a circle hook. I'll just set the rod in the rod holder, loosen the drag, just loose enough that if a fish grabs it, it can run without a lot of resistance, because if a fish feels resistance when it takes off, it's going to spit out whatever it has. So light drag, let it sit in the rod holder. All right, so we just made cast number 3 out there. Already caught 2 of the reds that were in that little school along this island here. Got another piece set out there, and we'll see if we can pick up another red. Got a bird sort of circling around where my bait's at. Always a good sign. Let's see if that bird was possibly looking at fish that might have been around my bait. Like I said before, this is a great example of positioning with cut bait. You want that scent to go down the shoreline, or down the cut, or down towards the structure you're trying to fish. If I was facing the other way, if I was down on that end, I'd cast my cut bait out and the scent would just travel back to me because of the direction the water's moving. So you want the water going towards and the scent going towards whatever structure or area that the fish were holding on. So the setup I'm using here, this is just my standard setup that I use for throwing artificials. I've got a 7'6" medium power rod, fast action, 2500. This is a Shimano Stratic FL. Got 10-pound Power Pro on there and 20-pound leader, and then just a circle hook, 5/0 circle hook, free lining that cut bait out along that shoreline over there. There's another one. Here's another fish. Got him. Gotcha. You see what I did when I set the hook there with the circle hook is I sort of just palm the spool and then just give a good tug to set that circle hook. You don't want to yank it like a J hook, because you'll just pull that hook right out of the fish's mouth. So just give a good amount of pressure and a good little tug there, and you'll get a good hook set using the circle hook. When the bite gets tough, the tough use cut bait. Looks like they're getting bigger. Went from a red with no spots to one with multiple. Nice spots on this guy. There it is. Nice. That's a healthy one there. Nice red. See that circle hook right in the corner of the mouth where it's supposed to be.
Now, if you find yourself fishing with cut bait and you're mostly catching catfish and stingrays and all these sort of bycatch trash fish, it's most likely because you're not in the right spot. And it comes down to that 90-10 rule, where 90% of the fish are going to be in 10% of the water. And if your cut bait isn't in that 10% zone, you're not going to be catching those fish. So you definitely want to make sure you're in the right spot. Now, if you need help finding that 90-10 zone in your area, just go to saltstrong.com/recipe or click the link down below and we'll see you there.